Edward N. Barringer, born on the 5th of May, 1811, died on the 6th of January, 1857, at Barrytown. Buried at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, Red Hook. Barringer's marker is among two lines of similar marble, tablet-style tombstones near the Cedars, straight back from the parking lot, near the very tall marble Sawpaw Monument. The row of tall, identical, marble, slab-style tombstones with rounded tops draws the visitor's eye to Edward N. Barringer's final resting place. The engravings are weathered, but remain mostly legible. Barringer's large family is evident here, though not all of his children are buried together. When a visitor looks closely at Barringer's monument, they cannot help noticing the cause of Barringer's death. Like too many people in the heyday of the railroads, he was struck and killed by a train. Edward married Catherine Ten Brock, and the couple had at least 10 children together. Catherine died in 1863, and Edward married Emma Pitcher the following year at Linlithgow. Edward and Emma did not have children together. Walking from right to left along the front row of tombstones, facing the church, a visitor will see the tombstone for Elzada and Cornelia, Edward Barringer's daughters from his first marriage. The next stone marks the resting place for Cornelia's husband, James G. Hill. On the other side of Hill's tombstone is the marker for Emma Pitcher, Edward Barringer's second wife. Immediately adjacent to Emma's stone is the marker for Edward Barringer himself. Next in line is the stone for Jacob Henry, son of Edward and Catherine. William E. Ten Brock and Helen Ten Brock Breeze, Catherine's nephew and niece, complete the row. At the end of the row is a small stone with eroded initials, which might read H.E.B. Turning to pass down the second row of tombstones, facing the opposite direction, walking left to right, a visitor will first encounter the marker for Mary Elizabeth Barringer Eckert, Catherine. Buried immediately beside her is her husband, John A. Eckert. The subsequent stones commemorate their children, little Edward, Carrie Aduela, and Hattie Estelle. The final marker is for little Eveline Dotes, Mary and John Eckert's granddaughter. Edward and Catherine's daughter, Helen Regina, and son, Edward A. Barringer, are also buried in the cemetery, but not in the rows with them. On the afternoon of Wednesday, January 6, 1875, Edward N. Barringer met his unfortunate end. He and John Cosgrove drove a horse and wagon from the dock at Barrytown towards Rhinecliff, intending to reach Cosgrove's house between the railroad tracks and the river. The 1867 map of Barrytown shows a structure marked J. Cosgrove, with a railroad appearing to run along the road, but this is not entirely accurate. Today, this road has an overpass, but it would appear to have previously been level with the tracks. The terrain is deeply cut to allow the train tracks through, and a level crossing would have little to no visibility in either direction. According to the local news report, an engine and tender bound north came thundering along unseen, frightening the horse into pulling the wagon carrying Barringer and Cosgrove directly in front of the train. Both men died instantly when they were thrown from the wagon. The impact broke Cosgrove's neck and badly lacerated Barringer's body, which was caught by the cowcatcher on the front of the engine. His body was carried down the track for a distance before the train came to a stop. An inquest held shortly after the accident determined that Barringer and Cosgrove were involuntarily carried across the track by the spooked horse, in part due to the absence of a flagman at the crossing, at the site of the old depot at Barrytown. The jury recommended the railroad company place a flagman there to prevent future accidents. A year later, the widows brought a suit against the New York Central and Hudson River Railroad. The case labored through the courts for 9 years before a settlement of over $17,000 was reached in 1884. A reporter noted that officials of the railroad company seemed determined to resist payment and baffle skill and ingenuity. It is not known if a flagman was ever installed at the crossing, but today an overpass exists to prevent further tragedy.